whiskey sour is a classic cocktail that they're not really sure exactly when it was created and exactly who created it. One of the things we do know, though, is it was around during the Lincoln administration, and it was in Jerry Thomas's 1862 book on bartending. So that's kind of the first kind of history that we know of it existing. But the original recipe was, bourbon, sugar, lemon, and egg white. So that's what we're doing. We're going to recreate a bourbon whiskey sour, which is typically with bourbon. It's not one of those things where they say, oh, rye or bourbon. Can you do it with rye? Of course you can. It's just that bourbon was the spirit of choice in how they did it. And just so you know, bourbon is something to be called a bourbon, has to have 51% at least corn made up in it, has to be aged for at least 2 years in a brand new charred American oak barrel, and obviously has to be from Kentucky. I'm using Elijah Craig bourbon today. This was actually, when I was at the library bar, this was a go-to bourbon I did all the time. Not this particular one, but the 12-year, I think it was. It was not that expensive. It had a great, great flavor. This is 94 proof. Always nice for me to use a higher proof bourbon when I'm mixing other things, because I'm going to kind of bring down that kind of alcohol. And if people might want to have that little flavor and that kind of from the booze, it's good to go a little higher proof. So we're going to make a traditional whiskey sour, and that's with lemon juice. So I use lime so much that I have my lime juice, so that sometimes I'll actually just, if I just have to do some quick lemons, I'll actually, go back to my roots here and squeeze my own lemon juice. So I have a half a lemon here. Sometimes when you're using these juicers, I like to cut the tip off so you get maximum press, the back of that. Get maximum press on that. And just get that in there. And all we're looking for, this is just so, see how it sprays all over the place? If I was to do that over a jigger, I would probably lose juice in different places. So it's nice to do this over your tin or possibly into a small little measuring cup. So I get that in there. And then we are going to do 3/4 of an ounce of the lemon juice. And then we'll do 3/4 ounce of, I never really use simple syrup. Obviously you can use simple syrup. It's a real simple ratio of 1 cup or 1-to-1 of sugar to water. Usually you boil the water, you let it come to a boil, you put in the sugar. So if you boil 1 cup of water, you would put in 1 cup of sugar. You'd stir it, let it dissolve, let it cool for an hour or so. I always just love using agave. I love the viscosity of it. I love the flavor of it. And it's really, really easy to make. So if you need to make it fast or you're quick, it's really just a 1-to-1 ratio. You just have to stir it. You don't have to heat it up. And I have the recipe on this channel on how to do it. So we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of an agave syrup. And then we're going to do 2 ounces of the bourbon. Again, you can use any kind of bourbon. And then a traditional whiskey sour does call for egg whites. It's easy if you just want to go to the supermarket and buy pasteurized egg whites that come in like one of those little pint containers. But you really can just take an egg from your refrigerator and make sure you swish it back and forth, and you're just putting the egg whites in, you're not putting the yolk. So open it slowly so that the whites come through, and then just get all that out. And then you could probably save that to scramble. You put in, we have a great recipe for a flip that you could do, but we'll rest that right there. And then the basic technique of this is you're going to do something called a dry shake. So this is something where you actually shake this cocktail twice. Anytime you're using egg whites, you want to shake it without ice first to emulsify it, to basically fluff out those egg whites. So we'll do that, shake it, do that nice shake. And you can kind of check on it. Like, see, I can already see that's kind of fluffy there. That's what's nice about it. You're starting to see I've got the fluffiness. I might do it a little bit longer. And then let's get some ice in there, and we'll shake it again. Yeah, it's got... The whole point is when you're pouring the egg whites, into the cocktail, those egg whites will actually stay. If you've really done a great job of whipping it, what we call whipping it or dry shaking it, you're going to have a nice film of egg whites that actually will stay there for a while. So we'll give that another shake. Now we're chilling it. Now listen, it's great to use a coupe, which is what this is called. You could use a martini glass. You can see how this is kind of small, right? So I'm going to show you a little trick sometimes, because it's really about the egg whites. Let's just say you have too much. Like obviously I still have too much in here. The whole point is obviously to have a glass that fits perfectly. But we care about those egg whites. So if we have to pour a little bit of liquid out of here, or you get to sip with your friend doesn't see it, and then what you're doing, the whole point is you're getting all that froth. See how far you can go? Right to the edge. And then that should really stay. So that's a true whiskey sour. And then what you can do is you can use regular bitters, any kind of bitters, but these are Angostura bitters, which is the traditional bitters that are in Manhattans and Old Fashions. And I love using the eyedroppers because I can control it. It comes from how you would do a pisco sour as well. You can have fun. Look, I can do all kinds of dots. I could do lots and lots of dots if I wanted to. I could just do dots if I wanted to. But you take the back of your bar spoon, and then what you can do is you kind of like painting or drawing with it. But it's not just so much, listen, people do really cool things with stencils and different things like that. People spray the bitters from an atomizer, which is great. This is just nice because I get to kind of control. What I'm really doing is I'm spreading out the flavors so that wherever somebody takes a sip, they're going to get bitters. So there we go. That is a classic whiskey sour, bourbon, lemon, a sugar source, and egg whites. Let's give it a sip. Yeah, and you could just see, look at the froth on that and how that's just staying like that. It's really, really nice. Smooth, delicious, and that you're still, because this is a 94 proof, you still taste a good amount of that alcohol. So have fun with it. Of course, there is a million things I would love to do to kind of switch this up, but I want to show you a classic whiskey sour so you know, and then it's really up to you what you want to do with it, how you want to change it, or just make it and it's great, and make it for friends who maybe never had one. So cheers and enjoy.